War Stories brought to you by Gary Gruner Chevrolet, Buick GMC in Madras.
1 out of every Central Oregonians is a veteran. In our weekly War Stories series, we introduce you to the stories of Central Oregon War veterans, some who made it back from their war and some who didn't. Tonight, we introduce you to the story of a World War II veteran from Bend named Carl Juhl.
I was born in Eugene, Oregon, March 13th, 1926. Start learning to work cattle and horses at a real young age. I started driving team, raking hay and disking ground when I was 8 years old. And I started driving tractor at 9 years of age. When I was 11 to 12, I had broke out a couple of Mustang horses. I graduated from high school at 17. I enlisted in the Army Air Corps in February of 1944. I was called to active duty after my 18th birthday. There was about 10 or 12 of us that were in this orientation flight. And we saw the ambulance and the fire truck coming racing out there, and we said, oh boy, somebody must be in problem. One of the other guys looked out the other window on the opposite side of the plane. He said, maybe it's us, we got an engine on fire. That was my first experience in an airplane. I got there, and the first day they just took one look at me and said, you're a ball-turret gunner on a B-17. And that was about it. I did real well in gunnery school. We started coming in just real low, right on the treetops. And I didn't know at the time, we knew there was going to be something big, but we were being trained for the invasion of Japan. Since I was a little bit big, I could not carry my parachute in it. And I could not wear my leathers in it either. So I had an electric suit, which is kind of like an electric blanket, except it's like a coverall. And because otherwise I couldn't get in the ball turret. And when you get in there, your head is just about between your knees. That ball turret's only 4 feet inside, and I had those two guns, one right here and one there, about probably 5 inches or 6 inches from each ear, 50 caliber gun. I said, Tom, I've got avgas all around my feet. He said, oh, he came back there and he said, yeah, he said, a spark and we can all be blowing up. The pilot and the navigator could not find our base. And we were 2 hours overdue, and as we were starting to approach, they finally found it. 2 engines conked out. We landed, and as we were just starting to land, the 3rd engine conked out, and we taxied off the runway on 1 engine. And then they dropped the atomic bomb, and about the 20th of August, they disbanded our squadron, and we all went our separate ways. Oh, we were married for 2 months short of 62 years. I miss her more every day, just totally. She was loved by everybody that knew her. I roll out like this morning at 5 o'clock. I kind of get things going, but I work 7 days a week. I go to church Sunday morning for about 2 hours. I go to Band of Brothers for about 2 hours. I go get my groceries after that, and then I'm down here. That's all I've ever done, basically, other than, even when I was working with fighting fire and stuff, I had some cattle and horses.
The last time I flew in a B-17 was in 1946, but basically the last time our training was in August of 1945.
I've had some extremely close calls, and I've had some good times and I've had some bad times. I've been awful lucky, very, very lucky, extremely so.
Thanks to Carl for sharing his story with us, and a special thanks to our sponsors, Gary Gruner Chevrolet Buick GMC in Madras, for giving us the time and resources to tell the stories of Central Oregon's veterans every Monday here on Central Oregon Daily. We'll be right back.